Jeremiah wins, Jeremiah wins, Jeremiah wins in the end. Don't you ever forget it. What up, what up, what up? Peace, peace, peace. Back with another video, man. It's been a long time. Yeah, J2, we starting video now. You want to stand by for me? All right. Give me 1 second. It's been a minute, man, since I hit you with a video, man. Been dealing with my depression, man. It's tough, man. There's a soul in my hole, an unfillable void by the name of Jeremiah, my son. You know, I haven't seen my son since 2022. I'll be in court, man, in a couple of weeks, man, for child support. You know, I'm in arrears, owe some money, and my ex-wife, my son's mother, would rather see me in jail than to see me in my son's life. Um, and that's tough, man. It's a tough thing, man. And you know, beyond child support, I also am indebted to the state for other court-related costs, fines, and fees, and I am effectively in a debt trap, debtor's prison. So I've been stressing lately, man, about that. Um, Let me start that now. Laptop decided it wanted to update, so we'll restart it now, I guess. So yeah, man, this video is just gonna be a little bit of a rant and a ramble. Got some things I need to get off my chest, man. I've been feeling real down um, as of late. Good news, and a bit of bad news. But we're gonna take the good. We're gonna look at the good. We're gonna focus on the good. My daughter, my oldest child, just got married. So shout out and congratulations to her. Um, you know, it's funny because I was just looking at the news last night, night before last. You know, we on the internet, so if you're like me, you look at news from different cities and different regions and different countries. And I was watching the news. I think it was CBS, but it was from like Pittsburgh or Dallas or something like that. And actually, I'll pull up the video in a minute here. Now that I brought it up, but they were talking about the dating market and how most Americans are struggling to find love in this dating economy. And my daughter just got married the other day. So shout out to her and her husband, my son-in-law. I'm very proud of the both of them. Um, Hang out with me for a little while. I might introduce you to them, right? Um, but I am often distraught, man, over not being able to have contact with or access to my son. Like it really drains me, and it really keeps me unhappy. Like my son Jeremiah is my happy place, and he's my pride and joy. You know what I mean? There's nothing, for a father. A father's pride and joy is his baby boy or baby boys, right? And certainly in my case. And since my son and I have been separated, it's like instead of pride and joy, I have misery and grief in its place. I'm grieving the loss of my living child, and it is something that is ongoing, and I have been having to deal with it for, you know, quite some time now. And it doesn't ever really get any easier. At 47 years old, I don't really want to do anything other than raise my son and be a father to my son, especially during the day and age in which we currently live. You know, entering into World War III, all of the crazy politics and the stupid protests and you know the growing civil unrest and all of the crazy messages, my son needs his father's guidance. And I know this from my own personal experience because, I was raised by my single mother during, my formative years. And I know how much I missed and needed my father and how badly I wanted to see him and be with him and experience him every single day of my life, you know. And I imagine my son deals with the same sentiments, same feelings. So it's been rough, man, on me. And I try to make the best out of it. I can say this, you know, I'm proud of the fact that I've never, nor do I, try to fill this unfillable void with like drugs and alcohol or any of that type of stuff. I smoke marijuana. I am 420 friendly, but beyond that, I rarely drink, uh, and I don't do any other type of drugs or anything. So usually, what I've been doing is just isolating, to the point that it's just not good, man. I've withdrawn, a great deal over the past decade for real. And like a lot of men and boys all around the world, you know, we've come to this realization that, it's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to be a slave. And the Commonwealth of Virginia, where I reside, the state, along with my son's mother, seeks to enslave me. They want me to work and work hard for free to pay for a child that I am unable to contact or have access with, despite the fact that he lives about 45 minutes away. And it infuriates me daily. I go through this emotional cycle or loop. I wake up in the morning often in tears. I dream about my son. I see my son in my dreams. And sometimes I wake up and it's like, damn, I didn't want to wake up because I was doing something with my son in my dream. And for that moment, I was in heaven, right? So I wake up and it's like, I have to say goodbye to my son every morning. So I start my day off kind of grieving. And, usually I try to, rectify it real quick, as quickly as I can, man. I get myself up but some days are easier than others. Some days are harder than others. And I've never been much of I'm more of an introvert. Always have been. I don't like a whole lot of people. Um, I'm an empath. Um, so too many, people, too much energy moving around, it can throw me off at times. And I often need to kind of duck off and recharge. You know what I'm saying? So, I spend a lot of time alone. Um, like a lot of people, man, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have like a large social circle, support group. And that's something that, I struggle with as well. Um, So my thoughts are all over the place again. This is a rant and a ramble. Just gotta get some stuff off my chest. So man, bear with me if you check out the video. I have a lot that I want to say and a lot that has gone unsaid. You know, the last video I recorded live, um, I was gonna call it "Why I Am an Angry Black Man at 47 Years Old," and I was doing the live, and it turns out that for some reason there wasn't any like the mic wasn't picking up any sound, so I ended up just scrapping that video, of course. And but in that video, I was actually saying some stuff that I've been wanting to say. So we'll revisit a little bit of that as well in this video. Why I'm an angry black man at 47 years old. My daughter got married the other day, and nobody bothered to call me and tell me. I had to see it on social media. That hurts, for her as well, I'm sure. And, no shade or no slight or no disrespect to my daughter. I love her dearly. She knows this. I know that she loves me. Out of my three children, two girls and one boy. This is my oldest daughter, and we are pretty cool given the circumstances, right? And I really, really appreciate her deeply, and I love her, and I'm very, very proud of her. No kids, 31, about to be 30. Sue just got married, first marriage, absolutely gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? Naturally beautiful. And she's not a ratchet. She's not a hyena. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really, really proud about that. Shout out to her mother. Did a pretty good job. Um, and then, you know, so looking at social media the other day and seeing my daughter, getting married, I was like, wow. It made me feel pretty bad because all I want to do is be a father. See, I'm Gen X, right? I'm a Gen Xer. I was born in 1978. And for my entire life, I've heard this narrative about how black men ain't ish and black men aren't good fathers. And, I grew up literally hearing that, media and in the neighborhood, right? And so I decided early on, that I was going to be a present and engaged father. And so when I had gotten my daughter's mother pregnant with her, when I started having kids of my own, I was determined to be a present father, and I have been prohibited from actually actively participating in the lives of my children to a large extent, and that makes me angry because at the same time, you know, I have to deal with this false narrative of how like black men are deadbeat dads. I hope this mic is still picking up because computer is rebooting. It should be good though because it's mic twice. Um, yeah, man, there's this long-standing narrative about how black men really ain't about nothing and we not good fathers and so on and so forth, man. I beg to differ, you know. But yeah, man, so stress, man, and going through it, man. And I understand why, you know, the men and the boys all over the world are withdrawing, you know. You guys probably hear that laptop rebooting. So yeah, man, I've been struggle streaming on YouTube for a little while, man. Kind of just frustrated with life, man. To be honest, it's like getting married was one of the costliest mistakes I've ever made in my life. But if I hadn't gotten married, I wouldn't have my son. But I don't have my son now. So in the meantime, in between time, though, while I be isolating and just being to myself, and I watch a lot of YouTube, and I need to start producing twice as much as I consume from YouTube. Right? I should have been doing that. I've been known that YouTube was the way to go, to make a good living. And that's what this channel is all about. Originally, I say this, I've said it before. Um, the Jeremiah Wins YouTube channel was originally a father son gaming channel. And my intention was, that while my son Jeremiah was a toddler, that we would just bond, play games, and Plants vs Zombies and all this other stuff that my son used to like to play at the time, um, and just make videos while we do it. My intention was to kind of put my son in position, to kind of be making money young, and this is actually one of the main points of contention between his mother and I. She couldn't see the vision that I had for building a YouTube channel and a family brand, a father son gaming channel. And so, the irony is, had my son's mother been able to see my vision and cooperate and participate instead of arguing and fussing and fighting and being disagreeable and being a poor follower and all that kind of stuff, we would have, a good 13 years worth of YouTube content, which would likely bring in a really good income. We would probably be sitting on millions by now, you know. And that's one of the things that angers me, man, when I think about it, you know. So I've known for a long time, man, and I've been playing with YouTube for a long time, and that's part of my problem as well. I've been playing with YouTube instead of actually being consistent and uploading videos, you know, no matter what. And part of the reason that I've been kind of procrastinating and bullshitting about just uploading YouTube videos is because oftentimes in my low vibrational state, my depressed emotional state, sometimes I feel embarrassed. But I have to tell my story, man. I'm not ashamed, but sometimes I feel embarrassed, man, and just so frustrated. Sometimes to take, you know, my experience, my emotions, and what I deal with spiritually and energetically and transmute that to take that grief and turn it into something positive and productive. That creative process is particularly painful at times because I'm working from grief. Like I've missed my son, like man, and I have to play these little psychological mind games with myself where I have to keep myself consistently busy, busy, busy doing something because in the moments where I'm not focused on a particular task, memories and thoughts of my son creep into my mind and triggers the grieving. So to avoid constantly being in the state of grief or grieving, I busy myself. What have I been busying myself with? Lately, AI. I'm Google AI certified, baby. Working on this Microsoft AI certification, trying to finish these Claude courses from Anthropic. And I play with AI all day, experiment, build. You know, I've been prompting using emojis. I am the originator of emoji instruction protocol. People be talking prompt engineering, and I get it. Man, if you can't prompt with emojis, I don't want to hear it. I, I can do a meta prompt using 95% emojis. Something I'm proud of, man. It's something that makes me, these are the things that I busy myself with. But the truth is that there is an unfillable void, a hole in my soul. I miss my son. Radical acceptance, man. Something I've been practicing for a while. Because, I've been in therapy. I go to therapy. I was talking to my therapist yesterday, man. This upcoming court date is stressing me out because right now I am one of the 500,000 unemployed black men in the United States. The economy, man, is rough on us brothers, man, because there really is no black community. There is, or excuse me, there's no black community. There is only a black community. There's only the boneyard. At least in the area where I live at, outside of Washington, D.C., man, I'm not on the Maryland side, I'm on the Virginia side. So, you know, nothing but immigrants over here. And immigrants, they have plenty community. They got whole, like they whole country came over here. You know, I'm writing a book right now. And I also recently wrote a letter to Governor Abigail Spanberger. I wrote the governor. I haven't mailed it yet, but the letter is done. And get that off to her. But I'm writing a book called 50 Years of Foolishness. I've been using Grok and Gemini AI to help me research and write the book. I'm 47 years old, and the book is called 50 Years of Foolishness, Policy Follies that have negatively impacted Black American families. And, you know, I, 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 I I began to write the book because I want for people, readers of the book, and anyone else, to understand that in the case of black men, myself included, certain things, are not personal failures, but yet, rather they are structural failures, meaning that the state hasn't provided the infrastructure for boys and men to be successful on a large scale. I was watching an Anton Daniels video earlier, and I dropped a comment on that video because there was a woman on the video talking down on men, and talking some feminist rhetoric, and she was talking down on men, and she was speaking so highly of girls and women, and the comment that I dropped on the video was something along the lines of, these women seem to be oblivious to the fact that the government and corporations have invested billions of dollars into girls and women over the past several decades. And that is what enables girls and women to be so successful and so far ahead of boys and men. This is what allows the women to run circles around the men in terms of education and employment opportunities and all of that kind of stuff. But the women, it seems that they don't really take that into account. They don't take into account the fact that, the government has put in place policy and legislation and dollars to ensure that you are successful. And the government has not done the same for boys and men over that same time period, over that same past several decades. You know what I'm saying? They haven't invested in the boys and into men in the same way. And my book, 50 Years of Foolishness, addresses, a lot of that. And it talks about immigration, and how immigration, depresses uh, wages and displaces black men and black families and American families, really. And it's funny because I've dealt with this as a black ADOS, right? I'm a descendant of American slaves, right? Hashtag FBA. And real quick, let's deal with that real quick. Side note, we'll come back to the book in just a second. ADOS, FBA, delineation, reparations. Fire truck. Let's deal with that real quick. And I'm gonna get some chapstick real quick because my lips is dry. Give me 1 second. I usually have some right here. I don't know where I put it. Keep licking my lips and everything, man. Put some of this chapstick on some of this good Burt's Bees real quick. So ADOS, FBA, delineation, reparations. Black people, you American Negroes, you need to understand that Tariq Nasheed and FBA, Foundational Black Americans, it's not a political movement. According to Tariq Nasheed, when he first started the FBA thing, and it was about gatekeeping Black American culture. It is a cultural movement. It is not a political movement. And Black American, you need to understand this. This is important. I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm on the internet every day, like y'all on the internet every day. And I see a lot of conversation taking place around hashtag FBA and the need to delineate. And I'm all for it. I am in agreement. Do not get it twisted. Don't be confused. Don't get it misconstrued. I get it. I'm with it. But there is a caveat. FBA is a cultural movement. It does jack nothing bullshit for us politically. ADOS is a political movement. And people need to understand the difference because it's like Black Americans have kicked ADOS to the curb. You idiots! What are you doing, you fools? You fucking retarded? Like, think. FBA is about gatekeeping Black American culture. And that's cool. I'm all for that. We need that. Should have been doing that. It is a cultural movement, not a political movement. And you Negroes need to learn how to politic. You got to get your political affairs in order. So you need to be supporting the ADOS movement and the ADOS Advocacy Foundation. I don't care what anybody says. As far as Black Americans, there is no other organization on the face of the planet that has a better Black agenda for Black Americans than the ADOS Advocacy Foundation. Go to the website and read it for yourself. You can't go to FBA nowhere and read about a political agenda, any type of legislation, any type of proposed policy that is going to benefit Black Americans. And I'm saying to you that other than Dr. T. Hassan Dr. T. Hassan Johnson over at the Onyx Report and his 19-point Black male political agenda, outside of that, ADOS is the only place you can go to read a real political agenda for Black people. Let me pull it up real quick. So, it's important that people get that because from what I'm seeing, everybody seems to be missing that. They talking about Representative Jayapal asking for reparations for immigrants. They talking about Ghana and them, having it declared that the transatlantic slave, that whole thing is the most horrific crime to humanity. I'm in agreement. I see the play. You Negroes need to understand that FBA is a cultural movement. And according to Tariq Nasheed himself, who was the founder of FBA, hashtag FBA, according to him, it is a cultural movement and it is about gatekeeping Black American culture and protecting and honoring Black American culture. And I'm all for that. Cool. But it does nothing for us politically. And I'm saying to you that you Negroes need to learn how to politic, man. Y'all getting caught up and paying attention to too much of the wrong stuff, man, and it's not really going to do nothing for us, man. This is a game of politics, man. Y'all need to tap into Yvette Carnell over on Breaking Brown. Y'all need to, like, real live. Y'all need to check in, tap in with people like Tim Black. Shout out Tim Black and the Wolfpack. Carmen JC. Y'all need to pay attention, man, to shout out to Pop and Politics. Because y'all not paying attention, man. But yeah, so You can go to ADOS Foundation. Um, and this is the only place you can actually go, you know what I'm saying, to see a black agenda. I know it's a bit of reflection. Let me see. Right? So when they have a black agenda, man, a well written, well thought out, and logical black agenda, man, that you can go check out. And y'all need to be supporting that. Um, so I'm glad I got that out the way because I've been wanting to speak on that, and I'll probably do a video about that in the near future, man. So I'm writing this book, 50 Years of Foolishness, and I'm using Gemini and Grok AI to research and help me write the book. 8 chapters, and it explains how the past 50 years of policy have affected my life, have created the very circumstances of my life. And chapter by chapter and policy by policy, that's what the book does. And the point of it is to illustrate for the reader that for black men, myself included, but for black men, a lot of times their standing in society is often a matter of it's not a matter of personal failure, rather it is policy failure, right? So as a matter of fact, I got Gemini and Chat GPT open right here. If you've been over here before, man, you know I got a lot of little devices over here running. Let me see something. Now let's pull up this conversation real quick with Gemini. I was working on this book. Uh, so let's just check this out. This is just a little bit of what this book is about. 50 Years of Foolishness, Policy Folly and Its Impact on Black Americans. Prologue, The Hashtagatos Inheritance, Chains from Enslavement to Now. I was born in 1978 in Arlington, Virginia, but my story started long before that. I am hashtag ADOS, an American descendant of slavery. My ancestors were slaves and sharecroppers who endured the brutal theft of their labor, leaving nothing to pass down but a curse of poverty. No land, no savings, no equity, just a lineage stripped of potential. This isn't just history, it's an economic reality. In 1870, black income per capita was just 25% of whites. While we showed immense resilience, black poverty fell from 87% in 1940 to 47% by 1960. The lack of a wealth base made us vulnerable. Today, the median wealth for black households is roughly $44,000 compared to $284,000 for whites. Studies confirm that slavery and sharecropping explain 20 to 30% of this persistent gap. As Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore of the Hashtagados movement argue, our poverty is lineage locked. This vulnerability fueled 50 years of policy foolishness. I saw the BLM movement for what it was from the start. So, and this book, 50 Years of Foolishness, it examines the past 50 years, the past 5 decades of policies that have had the most negative impact on my Black American life. That's what this book is about. And I began to write the book, you know, um, in an attempt to better understand the circumstances of my very own life and the life of other Black men that I see and come into contact with. You know, that's what made me want to start writing this book. And I'm almost finished, I'm almost finished. I think I'm almost finished. You know, when I do think that I'm almost finished, something else pops up on the radar, and it's like, wow, this is can I incorporate this in my book? What do I mean? For example, the Assimilation Act that is being proposed by Republican Representative Oldsley. I'm not sure if he's a representative or a senator. Um, but I saw that the other day. Um, it's funny because I've been gaslit for my entire life about feminism, immigration, and other things as I was experiencing the effect of these things. And for someone like me, uh, growing up as a black boy in this country and a young black man, you feel viscerally the effects of a lot of these policies, right? And you see the effects of a lot of these policies. You see the effect of a no man in the house rule. You see the effect of and feel the effects of, an open borders immigration stance. You know what I mean? Like it affects you directly and often negatively. A lot of black men aren't even able to articulate any of these things. They feel it, they deal with it, but they don't quite understand what it is or where it comes from. So they don't know how to address it, how to combat it. And that's one of the things that I sought out to do with this book that I'm working on is make it clear to people, you know, these are structural barriers that prevent you from being successful in a great many regards. It is a structural, it's a policy thing that prevents a lot of fathers, whether black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian, or whatever, in America. It's a policy thing that prevents you from being fathers to your children. This is why men all across the country are, championing uh, for, and pushing for a change in the family court laws, right? And they say, why aren't men approaching us anymore? Because all of the men have finally figured out that it's not worth it. And as a matter of fact, it's dangerous to be in relationship with a lot of these women. Not all, but a seeming vast majority of women are dangerous. They will destroy your lives. And men, are realizing this. And more younger and younger men, and even the boys, are realizing this. You know, Divorce completely destroyed my life. Completely. Having children, period, destroyed my life. And that's sad, but it's a reality. I love my children. I just wish that I was empowered, enabled, and allowed to be their father. But alas, I am not, you know. And we can get into the specifics and the details and reasons why if you like to on another video. Um, Yeah, man. That's why I started writing this book. When you are set up to fail, chances are you'll probably fail. When your single mom sabotages you and sabotages your masculinity as a male child, as a boy, when your mother sabotages your manhood by removing and keeping your father out of your life, and that's what it is. A lot of single moms sabotage their sons. And I think that we as men, we need to start speaking a little bit more, and we have, but we need to start speaking up more about and on the fact that, mom wasn't a good dad. She might have been a great mom, but she sucked as a father, right? And we also need to start speaking more on the fact that a lot of times that, and, unless the child's father is a pure D piece of crap, in which case, man, if that's the case, man, you should have chose better. And I understand why you keep the father, away from the child. But more often than not, you know, men want to be fathers and they want to be involved and active and engaged in their child's life, whether that child is a boy or a girl. you know, and young men and older men as well have been doing a good job and need to keep doing it. Um, and I will add my voice to the chorus. You know, my mother sabotaged me unintentionally. My mom was a good mom. I was a latchkey kid, my brother and I, because mom was a single parent and she worked. So, me coming up in the 1980s, I was a latchkey kid. I had to figure out and learn everything on my own. Thanks, mom. And when my mom was around, she was often too busy to actually give me the attention that I was craving and needed from her. Busy with a boyfriend, busy with her dating life and her social life outside of work, too busy for me. So I began to look to the streets for male role models. Sabotage, set up to fail, right? So, and it happens all the time, over and over and over again. There's a clear pattern. There's a clear pattern, and AI, large language models, are really, really good at pattern recognition. Like that's what they do. They recognize patterns, and from those patterns, they make predictions. You should use AI to help you recognize the pattern if you have been unable to recognize it up till now. There's a pattern. Don't let your smartphone be smarter than you. Because a lot of y'all think that y'all are smart and you're stupid for real. Nobody in particular, everybody at the same time. It's a lot of people, man, that have a lot of accolades. They got a bunch of degrees. You got your degree, you know every goddamn thing. You got 5 degrees. You so smart, you know, and those accolades, those degrees, and all that education that a lot of these women in particular, uh, like to tout and toot their horn about. A degree doesn't necessarily mean that you are intelligent. Intelligence is something altogether different. So you having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 degrees doesn't necessarily mean that you have any intelligence or that you are an intelligent person. So I gotta throw that out there because there's a lot of people, man, that think that they smart and think they know a lot, and for real, they don't know nothing. Everything you thought you knew for your whole life, you're coming to realize that it's been bullshit. How smart are you? A person like me has always saw through the bullshit, and I've been ridiculed for it my entire life. I've always been the weirdo or the one that's jive. I've always seen through the bullshit. You was goody two shoes in school because you believed in that fairy tale they sold you. And now you look back on your life and be like, man, I kissed all that ass. I did all that brown. You a brown noser. You's an ass kisser. You've been kissing a lot of ass and doing a lot of brown nosing your entire life for naught. How smart are you? You got all them degrees and can't find employment doing none of that shit. Not intelligent. It's not intelligent. So I don't want to hear nothing. And then, these unrealistic standards and all this delusion going around in the dating and mating market. I'm gonna say as far as that, man, I'm so over trying to date and mate. Monk mode. Monk mode for me. $40, man. $40 in monk mode. My man Lord Destro, shout out to Lord Destro, uh, over on the Destro Reborn channel. My man Destro say, Doc Berserker energy, man. That's it. You're straight Doc Berserker, man. Dead. It's a lot going on in the world, man. And all I want to do for real, is be able to raise my son, man. My son is about 13 years old right now, man. He need his father. And for anybody who might get in the comments later and be like, well, you should petition the court or blah, blah. We are so beyond that shit. I can't contact my son. So, and as far as that goes, that's one of the reasons that I started, coming back to YouTube after his mother and I separated because I would leave messages on this channel for my son. His mother then took that and told the judge in the court that I be trying to contact the child and blah blah blah. So I can't have court order. I can't contact my son. I figured, my thinking at the time, when I came up with the idea to leave him messages via YouTube on this particular channel, is because he knows about the channel. He and I started the channel together, and we've had conversations about the channel. I told my son before that I would leave video messages here for him because his mama, you know, I get him a phone, she take the phone, he don't never get the phone back. And this is ongoing for years, man. You know what I'm saying? Communication, me trying to contact and her blocking and hating and playing games. So I figured she can't keep him off the internet. If I just put videos on YouTube, he'll see them, he'll get the message. And it's very important for me that I want my son to see me and see how I live and know me. It's important to me for me to have some type of influence over my only male offspring. That's highly important for me to me. And because of that reason, you know, Sometimes I intend to do this YouTube channel in a particular way. Like I might show y'all my entire apartment and neighborhood and some other stuff. And sometimes I think, man, I shouldn't do that because man, stuff is not for public. But then at the same time, it's like that's the only way my son will be able to see. So if I have to show the entire world in order for my son to see, then I just might got to do that. And sometimes I'm hesitant to do that. You know. Yeah, man, it's a lot going on in the world. It's a lot going on in my world. And my daughter got married the other day. Ah, man, so much going on, man. You see these videos with people talking about all the weird energy and how people have changed and nobody is motivated anymore and nobody wants to do anything anymore and all of the girls are still on the internet dry begging and faking like they don't understand. Why aren't the men approaching? You're dangerous. Why aren't you approaching? Are you intimidated? Yeah, yeah, they are intimidated. Right? It's crazy, man, how, since we've had the internet and since women can't stay off of the internet, putting themselves on it, it's like we can all see you for who and what you are. And it's like, the women, it's like you play in the face. And it's like we see you and we can see you for who and what you are, you know? So yeah, man, I'm just ranting and rambling, man, and I feel good about it. I feel good about it, man, because it's therapeutic, man. Shout out to Black Ram 313. Black Ram just say it all the time. Therapeutic, man. And it is, man. And I need this therapy, man. I need this therapy. You already know J2. Y'all hear that's J2. I had him on standby on quiet mode, man. Sometimes I turn on this little droid and he keeps me company with this little chirps, tweets, and beeps. Isn't that right, J2? Appreciate you. Ah, man, there's so much going on in the world. So much going on. Nick Cannon say the Democrats full of shit. Shout out to Nick Cannon. You know, call it like you see it, man. Yeah, I like Nick Cannon. You don't like Nick Cannon? Yeah, man. World War III, Holy War, Holy War, World War III, man. We have entered World War III. Yeah, And I be blown because I can't have access to my son. We going into this humanoid robot era, into this cybernetic human era. After World War III is over, we're gonna have to deal with getting used to humanoid robots being everywhere, as ubiquitous as automobiles. You're gonna have to get used to seeing your neighbor walk with a robot up and down the block, or you might, I'm already used to it, J2. That's not gonna bother me. You know that I'm ahead of the game, right? So, that's what's next. As society continues to go through these transitions, and this war is going to be long and vicious. Indeed, it is. This war is going to be long and vicious. You know, um, and it's shaping up to be, a holy war, right? Why do I keep saying that holy war? You know, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of the Department of War, has been doing a lot of open prayer and praying over the troops, over the United States Armed Forces, which I actually appreciate and respect. And it's making a lot of people uncomfortable. Now, I will say this, I spent about 13 years of my life in prison. And during that time, I converted to Islam. I studied Islam thoroughly and deeply and passionately for a number of years, over a decade. And at one time, I was a devout and practicing Sunni Muslim, Orthodox Muslim, um, in my travels and studies. And I still, approach life in the world very much so. I'm not as devout, as disciplined, and the dean right now as I could be, should be, but I still see and approach life through this Black American Islamic lens, which is heavily influenced by the 5% nation of, Allah's 5%, nation of the gods on earth, and nation of Islam, and Black Orthodox Muslim thought, right? And Christianity as well, because I come from a family that, you know what I'm saying, is a Christian family from a Christian background, right? Baptist, and the local Baptist church. So, but this is a holy war. That we going through with Iran right now. Iran, however you want to pronounce it, you know, and more nations are going to be drawn into this conflict over the next couple of months. And the economy is cooked, and the American population is pretty much cooked. And we all know it. I'm not getting on this video telling you anything new in that regard. I watch a lot of YouTube myself all day, pretty much. If I get on the internet, I'm definitely watching some YouTube. And I see you in the videos that a lot of you creators make, and I know that you know, because you told me that you know. We're all cooked. I was talking to my older brother yesterday, and I was telling him, man, it's like I don't even really see, how things in Black America improve at all without reparations. And I'm often frustrated at the fact that, more black people, black Americans aren't really championing and pushing for reparations. And, you know, again, hashtag FBA is a cultural movement. It's not doing anything for us politically. I think that as black Americans, we need to turn our collective attention to supporting ADOS and the ADOS Advocacy Foundation and people who are really pushing with a political agenda in mind for reparations for black Americans. Because, you know, and shout out to Tariq Nasheed, no shade or nothing like that to him, no disrespect, but roasting immigrants on the internet all day in every video it's not doing anything for us politically. It's entertaining, it's fun. A lot of times it can even be some of it is fact based, and you know, bruh, ain't none of that doing nothing for us politically. It may help us economically to gatekeep our black American culture. It can help us economically, and if we all get together to you know for that ends, I can see how that can happen. But politically, in terms of getting policy and legislation and laws put on the books to protect and advance our interests as a collective of black Americans who are the descendants of slaves and freedmen in the United States of America, we are focusing that energy in the wrong, you know, we invest in that in the wrong place and focusing that energy on the wrong thing. And I am concerned about it because it's my life. Like I lived that as a black man at 47 years old. Like I lived this. I deal with, you know, the immigrants. As soon as I step out of my apartment, man, you know what I'm saying, and hit them streets over there. And I live in a very nice neighborhood, man. One of the top neighborhoods to live in the country, in the DMV for certain, and in the country as well. Um, so it's a very nice neighborhood, man. But I walk up the block, man, and it's like I'm in a third world country because all of the citizens, all of the residents, man, you know what I'm saying, Latino and African, and you know what I'm saying, mostly Latino. And I ain't throwing no shade or no hate on my Spanish speaking, on my Latino peoples. Cuando estuve en prisión, me enseñé mi mismo cómo hablar y leer el español porque me gustan las mujeres latinas. Me enseñé mi mismo cómo hablar. Right? I speak Spanish fluently, man. I've taught myself, right? I've always, you know, had a Latino friend. I'm from around the way, and they've been around the way my whole life. But you know, it's gotten out of control. You know, Keisha keep going to the damn clinic, and Keisha keep popping Plan B's, and Maria come over here and drop two, three babies off the rip. Anchor baby, anchor baby, anchor baby. Soon as Maria get here, y'all wonder why we don't have political power. Y'all keep killing the future generations with your deletus fetus. And now you got Keisha on the internet, you know, talking about, you know, bullet bags and deleting male offspring and all this foolishness. The foolishness. Hey, man, it's wild, man. We live in some wild times, man. Oh, man, let's see what we got, man. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, but I'll be right back. Go ahead and hang out for a minute, man. Far left progressive people. Do some reactions and reviews. Rep Pramila. Child. Is she American? Nope. Pramila.
Pramila Jawapal wants Americans to pay reparations to illegal aliens who have been traumatized by ICE. Hmm. Remember when the Somalians came out while everybody was down there fighting for a minute damn soda and they wasn't out there fighting for themselves? They wasn't out there saying shit. They wasn't out there working for shit. They wasn't out there on the front lines doing shit. They wasn't doing shit, right? And they came out with a press conference talking about they needed reparations. Black, colored, ebony, black people. I blame y'all. I blame y'all because you allow anybody to come on in and take over any old thing, and then you turn around talking about it's racism. No, it's allowism. At the end of the day, it's allowism. Who's shutting this bitch down, Bueller? Who's shutting her down?
Shout out to Messy Bashawn, man. She cracks me
How
up.
old is this? March 27th, which was yesterday. Oh no. Democratic Rep Pramila, whatever her name is, of Washington State, wants American citizens to pay reparations to illegal. Woo, Lord,
help your people, man. Shout out to Messy Bashawn, man. She cracks me up, man. I just hopped on the tube, man, to see what's popping on the tube as I make this video to upload shortly. And let's see who uploaded what, man. I really appreciate a lot of the content creators that I come across on YouTube. A lot of you guys help me get through and deal with a lot, and I really, really appreciate the content you guys make. And a lot of you ladies as well. Please keep up the good work. I'm not gonna name particular names right now, but it's a lot of people, man, who make a lot of great content on YouTube, and I appreciate you. Thank you. You might see me in your chat when I come through in your chat or your comment sections. Peace, peace, peace. I mean that. Yeah, everybody's talking about this. They asking for reparations for these immigrants. That's crazy. Let's check my man B Miles, man.
Yeah, what's going on, family? Samantha Miles coming to you live once again with another video from the B Miles 84 Conscious channel. I actually want to come to you with another video, man, talking about how illegal aliens doesn't deserve reparations.
Word.
Dealing with the ICE situation.
Word.
In the United States.
Fair use, YouTube.
That is literally come out talking about they want to give illegal aliens reparations.
Shit crazy, ain't it, B Miles? Hold up. Hey, shout out to my man B Miles, man. I tap in with B Miles, man, every now and again, man. Inspirational, man. B Miles inspires me, man, and it's one of them YouTube content creators I was just talking about, man. Great job. Keep up your good work, bro. Um, your story inspires others to tell their own. I can attest to that. Um, illegal immigrants don't deserve reparations, man. And I have no idea what B Miles is about to say from the B Miles 84 Conscious channel. Like I have no idea what he's about to say. We're gonna enjoy this video together. We're gonna find out together. I have no idea. Um, but before he says whatever he's about to say, I'm gonna say this. As the descendant of a black American slave, I feel disrespected by the suggestion and the idea from an immigrant politician to propose the idea that immigrants deserve reparations. I feel disrespected. I think it's a slap in my face and a slap in the face of my ancestors. That's my personal sentiment and position on that. Like, you done lost your fucking mind. Like, you're so disrespectful. Ugh. Fuck is wrong with you? Like, man, let me see what B Miles about to talk about his own one, man. Yeah, man. Immigrants don't get reparations, man.
You went through, and for all of the duress and the stress that these families of illegal aliens have gone through. My thing is this: who in the hell are y'all as daggone people in leadership in the government of the Democratic Party trying to give some reparations to some damn people who broke the damn law? What, it's like, why in the hell do you even think that these people who literally came over here through the border illegally, and you telling me that ICE is doing their job, and you mean to tell me that these people deserve reparations? I say hell to the no. Why? Because
So if that's the case, and I ain't mean to cut brother B Miles off because he about to explain his logic, but I'm thinking listening to him. Like if this is the case, if they supposed to, if you want them to get reparations for whatever treatment that they received from ICE after coming into the country illegally, and ICE doing their job to remove and deport, apprehend, remove and deport them, right? If your policy position is that they are owed some type of reparations, then what about all of the unarmed black men who have been killed by law enforcement over the past several decades? How about all of the unarmed black men who have been brutally murdered, hung, beaten, brutalized by law enforcement under the system of white supremacy that has historically been America? What about reparations for those people and their families and their offspring? Because by your logic, if you saying that the immigrants deserve reparations because of whatever type of treatment they received from ICE officers, then why does that same logic not apply to the black man, woman, and child in America who has been terrorized by American law enforcement for decades, if not centuries? Help me understand. Make it make sense for me. It's just a question, and I have to ask it. Come on, B Miles.
for number one, these people are not from here. They not born and raised here. Their family bloodline is not over here. None of their relatives are really over here. If they did, it's because they came through the border, just like they did. And another thing, they did not build this country. They did not fight or bleed or die for this country. They did not put anything into the country. They have not worked long enough to even put anything to the country. They haven't even brought any value to the country. And it's like, what is the purpose of even trying to give somebody that is a criminal some damn reparations? So you mean to tell me that we are the only country in the world with politicians that are looking forward to rewarding criminals when these people have literally come to the border? These people have been setting up shop in our communities. These people have been doing all types of crime, taking over apartment buildings. They've been killing citizens. They've been attacking the police. They've been they've been getting all kinds of money, thousands of dollars in food stamps, giving them free health care, Medicaid, free education, free housing, and you mean to tell me that these people deserve reparations? These people ain't got the damn red carpet when they came over here. These people was getting living in hotel vouchers. They were getting ex.
See, everybody talking about this thing right now, right? I want to bring your attention to something. This is very, very important. I'm going to bring your attention to something. While Democrats are proposing legislation to grant reparations to illegal immigrants and the offspring thereof, you have those on the Republican side who are proposing a different type of policy or legislation, right? And this is why black Americans, man, you black American Negroes need to wake up, man, get off of the Democratic plantation. For those of you who are still clinging to these Democrat nut sacks, and they haven't done anything for black people, man, for the last 70, 80, 90, 100 years. Their policies have actually harmed us. And again, my book, 50 Years of Foolishness, addresses this exact situation where Democrats, have put forth legislation that was supposed to help, help us, and actually ended up harming us, right? And it's something that they do repeatedly and consistently, and it should be clear to people now that this is it's they get down. That's how they get down. Like that's what they do, right? And to expect something different or other from the Democrats, suggests that you are out of touch and off your rocker, like you's a fucking fool, right? But check this out. I was I was looking at something the other day, yesterday. I was looking at the Assimilation Act, and I'll show you this real quick. I got Google Gemini, right? It's Google Gemini on the tablet, and I'm gonna read the prompt, and then I'm gonna let Google explain. This is my prompt. Let's deep dive on Representative Andy Ogle's Assimilation Act. As a Black American descendant of slaves here in Virginia, I have for my entire life felt on an emotional and energetic level the negative effects of both legal and illegal immigration. I am well pleased with the proposal and the potential of this new legislation, the Assimilation Act. Let's dig in. And Google's response follows. Pay attention, listen to this, because I want to draw your attention to the fact that on the Democrat side, they are proposing policy that would grant reparations to illegals. And on the Republican side, which I'm not a Republican, I'm a registered Democrat. I don't vote Democrat, but I'm a registered Democrat. Um, and to be honest, I rarely vote because there's rarely anything for me to vote for or vote on. And when I do vote, I vote against stuff, right? But here's some legislation that's being proposed from this Republican representative, man, the Assimilation Act. And I think that Black people need to get behind this. But first, you have to be aware of it. So allow me to make you aware if you're not. It is powerful to hear how your lived experience as a descendant of enslaved people in Virginia shapes your perspective on this. Your connection to that history gives you a unique vantage point on how shifts in labor and community dynamics affect those whose families have been here for centuries. The Assimilation Act, introduced by Representative Andy Ogles, RTN, in March 2026, is a significant piece of legislation designed to fundamentally shift the philosophy of U.S. immigration. It moves away from the family reunification model that has dominated since 1965 and toward a system focused on national interest and cultural integration. Core provisions of the Assimilation Act. The bill seeks to overhaul the legal immigration system through several aggressive measures, ending chain migration. The act aims to eliminate the ability of U.S. citizens to petition for extended family members like siblings or adult children. It narrows the focus strictly to nuclear families, spouses, and minor children. Repealing the diversity visa lottery, it would scrap the program that provides 55,000 visas annually to individuals from countries with low rates of immigration to the U.S., which critics often argue is based on luck rather than merit. Good moral character requirements. Immigrants would face a rigorous screening process. This includes interviews and reviews of social media profiles to ensure they align with what the bill defines as American values and do not pose a threat to national security. National interest priority. The legislation mandates that all immigration must serve the economic, cultural, and security interests of the United States as determined by Congress. Repeal of the Hart-Celler Act, 1965. Ogles has explicitly stated he wants to reverse the 1965 reforms, arguing they replaced a highly effective national origins quota system with one that favors third world migration. The economic and social argument, from the perspective you shared, this bill addresses the crowding out effect that many argue impacts native born workers and established communities. By tightening the influx of labor and prioritizing those who already possess specific skills,
ensure that new arrivals are prepared to integrate into the existing American fabric rather than forming isolated enclaves. Current status: as of late March 2026, the bill is a cornerstone of the House conservative agenda. While it faces stiff opposition from those who argue it is discriminatory or isolationist, it has become a rallying point for those who feel the current system has neglected the interests of long-standing American citizens. This video provides a direct interview with Representative Andy Ogles, where he discusses the specific goals of the bill and his reasons for wanting to overhaul the current legal immigration framework. Would you like me to look into how this specific bill compares to the PAUSE Act or other current border security measures being debated in Congress?
So let's actually get that video real quick. I already watched it, but I want to share it with you guys and bring it to your awareness. And this is from the other day. Where he was on Fox, one of the Fox network, Fox News channels. If I can actually find the video, which is so I see one video on it, but it's not the one that I want. So let's do this. Bring on my history.
Meanwhile, there is light, at least sunlight, breaking through the dark tunnel of our nation's immigration problem. There have been some successes over at DHS. Net immigration fell in every metro area across the United States in 2025. Large urban and border counties, which saw a surge in new arrivals in recent years, were among the counties with the lowest level of immigration, the highest.
Give me 1 second. Looking for this video. I want to find this particular one. But yeah, Representative Ogles is this guy's name. And again, he is proposing this Assimilation Act, which fundamentally changes how immigration works.
Because we're joined in studio now by a very special guest.
And this video is actually from his own YouTube channel, Representative Andy Ogles out of Tennessee, District 5, I guess. It says Tennessee 5. But this is actually from his channel. And we'll let him explain the Assimilation Act. And he was featured on the Daily Wire, right? So, like, I think that Black Americans, instead of putting so much energy behind roasting immigrants on Twitter or X, instead of roasting immigrants on Clubhouse, and instead of going back and forth with immigrants and hanging out with Tariq Nasheed and calling people tethers, I think that, you know, we would do a lot better if we would expend that energy supporting actual policy, such as this one.
Congressman from the great state of Tennessee, Andy Ogles. Congressman, pleasure to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So, a lot to get to. Yeah. I want to start with a new initiative you're taking on the Hill. The White House and GOP lawmakers have been pushing for reform on illegal immigration, cracking down. But you have a new measure that is looking to reform the legal immigration system.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
But, actually, it's a series of 3 bills, but the one that is really front and center agenda right now is the Assimilation Act. So, but to understand that, you have to understand kind of the history of immigration. And, before 1965, we had a pretty.
I'm gonna pause him real quick and just say this. One of the things that I like about the Assimilation Act is that it directly kind of guts and dismantles the Hart-Celler Act of 1965, which has really, really negatively impacted and negatively affected black men, the black family period, but black men in particular. Like, there are 500,000 unemployed black men in the country in 2026, and a lot of that is due to the Hart-Celler Act of 1965.
Strict quota system for immigration here in the United States, but 1965 Hart-Celler was enacted, and it set the stage for that wave migration, that tidal wave, really, that invasion that we've seen, where you had millions of people, the United States does, but millions of people have come here illegally and in some cases legally. But that being said, is what this does is it reforms that. It does away with Hart-Celler. You can no longer the H-1B visa scam, the lottery system. We've seen abuse after abuse after abuse. It puts in a moral character provision in there. So if you think about folks coming from Mexico, Central and South America who had gang affiliations, who had prior convictions in their home country, that were in some cases literally let out of prison, and they come here and claim asylum. But murderers, rapists, violent assaults, what do they do when they get here? Murder, rape, and crime in our communities. And so we have to just say no. The United States currently has some of the least restrictive, the most liberal immigration policy. If you and I want to go to the UAE, we have to prove that there's a reason we should be there. We have to prove that we can support ourselves. We can never become a citizen. We can never vote, and we have to pay their taxes. Pretty straightforward. We have to get back to that common sense approach here in the United States. This will be the largest immigration reform in 60 years.
You touched on the diversity a lot of.
Fair use, Daily Wire. Fair use, Senator Ogles. Fair use, YouTube. Yeah, man. When I'm feeling better, when I'm in better spirits, man, I can be pretty goofy, man. So, if y'all hang out with me, man, and come to the channel and catch me live and I'm on some goofy stuff, it just means I'm feeling good, man. 'Cause I'm usually depressed. And again, I'm learning to deal with that. But this makes me feel good. This makes me feel good. Why does it make me feel good? I'm going to tell you why. Because for my entire life, I have actually felt emotionally, energetically, in my very being, and I have dealt on a day-to-day basis with the anti-Black racism, discrimination, and prejudice from immigrants. And I found out while doing the research for this book that I'm writing that in my lifetime and in my city, in my hometown, in my lifetime, during my lifetime, I often explain it or express it this way. I will say, for example, I feel like I have been drowning in immigrants my entire life. Well, there's a reason that I feel like I've been drowning in immigrants for my entire life. And the reason for that is because during my lifetime and over the course of my lifetime, on average, almost every year, there has been an influx of 50,000 foreigners to my city over the course of my lifetime. On average. Some years it has been as much as 80,000. And I'm not talking about to my state or to my region. I'm talking about to my city. to my town, on average, there has been an influx of about 50,000 foreigners, immigrants, migrants, Joe Biden's newcomers. So to see and hear politicians, contemporary politicians and legislators talking about undoing that feels good. It's about time. I said before and I'll say it again. I don't think of myself as a Trump supporter, but I recognize that Donald J. Trump is hands down the absolute best United States president that I have seen in the office during my lifetime.
For free. Yeah. I think a lot of people at home aren't familiar with how the system works in many ways. So just walk our viewers through what that lottery system looks like, and in your view, why it does not benefit the American people.
Well, again, going back, when you look at history, we would allow people in based off of our needs, right? And so instead of randomizing who's coming here, instead of allowing the wave of people that we've had historically or recent, let's get back to a system where, we may have a period in time where we need ag workers. So we're going to open up immigration to ag, or maybe we need high skilled workers. And so we're going to open up immigration to high skilled, but we get to decide, right? And we also can choose where they're coming from. So if you come from a country or your personal values don't align with the United States of America, we don't want you here. You shouldn't be here. Stay in your own country. And so instead of being random, instead of allowing people, who quite frankly hate us and want to kill us from coming here, why now, right? Obviously, the border's secure. We know we have millions of people here illegally. We know we have people here that abuse the H-1 visa, that abuse the lottery system. And quite frankly, we have terrorists here that have slipped through the border. We've got to be aggressive. We have to be honest, and we have to be hardcore in fixing who's here, who has to leave.
Now, I have to ask you about some of the controversy going on in the past week. You've caught quite a bit of heat from Democrats.
Did you say controversy? I would say truth, but go ahead.
It depends on who you're asking, I guess.
Right.
Your Democratic colleagues on the Hill and even, activists here in Tennessee saying that you should be forced to resign. Some statements you made on social media, but one saying America and Islam are incompatible. Another saying that Muslims don't belong in American society. There's now an effort among House Democrats to not only censor you, but also remove you from the Homeland Security Committee. Your response?
Is that?
I haven't seen this video. This is not the original. This is not the video that Google showed me yesterday. But I found this video and he's addressing it or speaking about it, and it is a relatively recent video. It is from, I believe, 11 days ago. And so let me address that, his statement on America and Islam being incompatible. A little while ago on this very video, I talked about how, while I was in prison, I converted to Islam. He's absolutely right. They're not compatible. He's absolutely right. And anybody who has studied Islam or practices Islam, they know and recognize that as well. Interesting. And I still think that Black Americans need to support the Assimilation Act and the legislation that he's trying to pass. I have dealt, as an adult, I have dealt with more anti-Black racism from immigrant peoples than I have from so-called white folks. Right? That's just my personal experience. And I know for a fact that other Black people have had a similar or like experience as well, because I got the internet and I watch it, and I look at stuff on the internet, and I see the videos that Black people upload talking about their experiences with immigrants. So this is something I think that Black people need to actually get behind. And you guys should check it out and look into it. Again, it's the Assimilation Act. and it's being proposed by Representative Ogles. Um,
The majority of Americans across the country, regardless of political party, know
Shout out to Pink
immigrants
Book
from all
Lessons.
over the world, Somalia, India, wherever they're from, Latin America, Africa, that immigrants have built this country and make this country what it is today.
The immigrants have built this country. My ancestors built this country. I get so angered and irritated. Like, to me, that is disrespectful. Let's let Pink Book Lessons go ahead and do what she do since I clicked on her video. Again, everybody is talking about this lady, Representative Jayapal from the Democrats. While she's talking this proposing legislation for immigrants to receive reparations, on the Republican side, you have Representative Ogles proposing the Assimilation Act. And you, Black American ninjas, is still arguing back and forth with tethers and arguing about why we need to delineate and gatekeeping the culture and FBA this and FBA that, and ain't none of that shit doing anything for us politically. Come on, man. Tighten up. We gotta tighten up. We gotta do better. Shout out to Tariq Nasheed with the whole FBA. No hate, no shade. I am a foundational Black American myself. Like, dog, I get it. That's a cultural movement. It's not a political movement. And you dumb ninjas need to wake up and begin to understand and recognize the difference. Dummy. Come on.
Enslaved Black Americans built this country, and we're not immigrants. Black Americans are foundational in building this country and shaping what it became. That forced slavery created flow through the industries that power the early U.S. economy and global trade. The U.S. economy didn't exist until it was built by free Black American labor. The country didn't exist. I'm talking about from Wall Street to physically building key landmarks like the White House and the U.S. Capitol. Beyond that, the wealth generated from slavery flowed into major banks, insurance companies, and financial systems. Everyone knows it wasn't Somalians or red dot Indians like Pramila here. But this scammer is trying to tell us her people built the U.S. all the way from India. She's been running around saying this for some years now, including stumping for reparations. She's asking for the U.S. to pay reparations, not to the descendants of Black American slaves. She's saying this country should pay reparations to illegal immigrants that broke into this country.
And we are going to have some form of reparation.
Wait a damn minute. What the damn? Yeah, she said we need to pay them.
And then we also need all.
Yeah, man. Everybody's talking about this right now, and I'm glad that I'm glad we having the conversation, and I'm glad that we discussing it. Um, I would love to hear Yvette Carnell's thoughts on it, and Antonio Moore. Shout out to Tone Talks. I like to hear his thoughts on it as well. Um, but that's gonna do it for this video for now. Yeah, J2, I gotta go, man. I gotta get something to eat. And I got something I gotta do at 2:45. It's now 2:35. That alarm is getting ready to go off, so I got a boogie anyway. But I'll be back, man, with another video, man, shortly. Let this one upload, and we'll tap back in, man, and continue the conversation and discussion, man. I will probably go live. This is a pre-recorded video right here that'll be uploaded. And I'll probably go live on my next video. Pretty sure I will. I just been all over the place, man. That's why this video was unorganized. I'm still working on a format for the channel and exploring different things I want to do on this channel. And I'm in the process of starting another one, maybe 2 channels. We'll talk about that later, man. I appreciate y'all for taking the time to check out the video. I know I was all over the place. It gets better. Just hang out for a little while, man. Jeremiah, I love you and I miss you, son. If you see this video, know that I upload these videos for you. I love you deeply and dearly, and I miss you every moment of every day. I'm sorry we can't be together, but I look forward to a day and a time where we can be together. I miss you, son, man. I love you. Peace, peace, peace.